Doomsday, Solomon Grundy and Hulk. On a rainy night, the once bustling city of Metropolis was now a pile of rubble. The skyscrapers toppled like giant skeletons, broken glass glistening under the flickering streetlights. The wind howled through the deserted streets, carrying the smell of smoke and dust. There was not a soul in sight, only the distant rumble of thunder, like a warning of an impending disaster. It was here that the three most terrifying entities in the universe converged, not because of fate, but because of an unquenchable thirst for destruction. First, the entity known as Doomsday emerged from the darkness. He was a giant mass of muscle, his gray skin covered with sharp bone spikes, his red eyes burning like hellfire. Each step he took caused the ground to crack open, creating cracks several meters long. He did not speak, did not think. He existed only to destroy. His origins lie in the brutal experiments on the ancient planet Krypton, where he died and was reborn 1,000 times, each time becoming stronger, immune to the pain he suffered. Now he roams the dimensions, seeking foes to test his immense power against. Not far away, from the damp swamps on the edge of the city, Solomon Grundy rises. He is a giant undead, his body massive and covered in rotting flesh, mixed with grass and mud. His eyes are glassy, and he mumbles the nonsense words from an old nursery rhyme. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. He was once Cyrus Gold, a murdered merchant, but now he is a symbol of chaotic immortality. Each time he dies, he is resurrected from the swamp with a changing personality, sometimes ferocious as a monster, sometimes innocent as a child. This time, he felt an unfamiliar power, pulling him here, ready to smash everything in his way. And then, from the horizon, a roar echoed, shaking the sky. The Hulk, a giant green entity, rushed forward with terrifying speed. He was Bruce Banner, a scientist transformed by gamma rays, now reduced to pure rage. His skin was a glossy green, his muscles bulged like moving mountains, his eyes flashed with boundless anger. Each of his leaps created deep holes in the ground, and his gasps were like thunder. The angrier he became, the stronger he became, his wounds healing in the blink of an eye. He had fought countless battles, from distant planets to Earth, and now, the smell of blood from the two entities awakened his destructive instincts. Three entities stood facing each other in the central square, where the fountain had dried up, leaving only shards of concrete. Doomsday growled, his spines vibrating as he prepared to pounce. Solomon Grundy clenched his fists, dirt falling from his body, cursing under his breath. Hulk pounded his chest, the thumps echoing like war drums, rage making his veins throbbing. There was no defiance, no reason, just primal instinct. War was about to break out, and this city would be the arena of the immortals. Doomsday charged first, his steps shaking the ground, sending shockwaves rippling through the air. He aimed straight at Hulk, his arms swinging like a scythe. Hulk did not dodge, he roared and charged, the two masses of muscle colliding with a deafening explosion. Solomon Grundy, not one to stand aside, jumped into the middle, grabbed Doomsday by the shoulders and threw him dozens of meters away, crashing into a collapsed building. Dust rose up, obscuring his vision, but from the rubble, Doomsday rose, unharmed, his eyes glowing even brighter. The rain became heavier, water flowing in rivulets across the cracked ground, reflecting the three entities like giant ghosts. Hulk felt the pain from the impact, but it only made him angrier, the surge of power causing his muscles to bulge. He turned on Solomon Grundy, punching him square in the chest, sending him flying backwards, crashing through several walls. Grundy roared in pain but quickly got up, his flesh healing at a rate visible to the naked eye. The first encounter was only the beginning, and none of them knew that this war would last forever. The light from the remaining street lamps shone through the rain, creating a hazy glow across the bodies of the three entities. Doomsday, his jagged exoskeleton, charged again, his speed like a hurricane. He grabbed the Hulk with both hands, lifted him high, and slammed him into the ground, creating a deep crater. Rubble flew, mixing with rainwater, creating mud. The Hulk lay there for a second, but his rage made him rise, his eyes bloodshot, and he returned the blow with a thunderous punch to Doomsday's face. The impact was like thunder, and Doomsday staggered back, gray blood flowing from his mouth. Solomon Grundy, from behind, took advantage of the moment to attack. He ran forward with heavy steps, each step shaking the ground, and grabbed the Hulk from behind. His muscles clenched, trying to crush him. Hulk growled, struggling, but Grundy was no match. Rainwater slid down Hulk's green skin, highlighting the bulging veins. He used his elbow to stab Grundy in the stomach, causing him to let go and retreat, clutching his stomach in pain. His flesh was torn open, revealing white bone, but in the blink of an eye it began to heal. Mud from the swamp seemed to flow back to fill the wound. Doomsday didn't wait. He lunged at Grundy, the two entities colliding like two giant boulders. The bone spikes in his hand dug deep into Grundy's shoulder, causing black blood to spurt out. Grundy roared, in pain but unfazed, using his other hand to punch Doomsday's head repeatedly. Each punch made a loud bang, and his head caved in, but he only shook his head and responded with a knee to Grundy's chest, sending him flying, crashing into an abandoned truck. Metal warped, glass shattered, and Grundy lay still for a moment, breathing heavily. The Hulk, now fully recovered, leaped into the air, his body momentarily blocking out the moon. He landed between the two entities, sending shock waves that cracked the pavement. He grabbed Doomsday and Grundy, one in each hand, lifting them like rag dolls. His rage doubled his strength, his muscles swelling larger than ever. He slammed the two entities together, the sound of the impact echoing like firecrackers. Doomsday and Grundy fell, their bodies twisted, but neither of them gave up. From the rubble, Doomsday rose first. He had adapted to the Hulk's punches, his skin thicker, his bone spurs longer. He lunged forward, punching the Hulk in the face, sending him flying backward, crashing through a building. Dust flew, and from the hole, the Hulk jumped out, the wound on his face healing instantly. Solomon Grundy, in his ferocious self this time, muttered a curse and charged at Doomsday, the two of them wrestling on the ground, rolling in the mud. The rain continued to fall, washing away the blood and dust, but it did not extinguish the fire of battle within them. The fight lasted for hours, each entity showing terrifying strength. The angrier Hulk grew, the stronger he became, smashing everything around him, razing the city to the ground. Doomsday adapted quickly, immune to repeated blows. Grundy regenerated from every wound, his body reforming from the mud. Neither had a clear advantage, but the tension was high, like a bomb about to explode. As dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight pierced the clouds, illuminating the desolation. The city was now a sea of rubble, with columns of smoke rising from the ashes. The three entities still stood there, panting, their bodies riddled with wounds, but undiminished in spirit. The Hulk, his rage at its peak, charged at Doomsday again. He lifted him high and slammed him into the ground, this time with enough force to create a crater dozens of meters deep. Doomsday lay motionless, his body shattered, his bones exposed, his gray blood splattered. Solomon Grundy saw his opportunity. He lunged at the Hulk, punching him in the back. The Hulk spun around, grabbed Grundy by the neck, and squeezed. He threw him far away, crashing into a pile of sharp concrete. Grundy was impaled, his body hanging limply, blood flowing freely. He struggled for a moment, then fell silent, his cloudy eyes closing. Hulk stood there, panting, thinking he had won. But then, from the pit, Doomsday began to move. He rose, his body regenerating at an alarming rate, his skin now thicker, immune to the Hulk's blows. He growled and charged, punching Hulk repeatedly, each blow knocking him back. From the concrete, Solomon Grundy also sprang back to life. His body slid off the bars, his wounds healed, and this time his personality changed to be more ferocious, more intelligent. He picked up a large bar and used it as a weapon, charging into the fight. The three entities collided again, the roar echoing in the weak sunlight. Hulk felt the pain, but it only made him stronger. He punched Doomsday away, then turned on Grundy, tearing his arm off. Grundy roared, but the arm grew back from the dirt, and he returned the blow with a headbutt to Hulk's chest. The fight continued with increasing intensity. Doomsday, now adapted, impales the Hulk with his bone spikes, causing him to bleed green. The Hulk roars, his rage making him grow larger. He grabs Doomsday and hurls him into the sky, landing miles away. Solomon Grundy takes advantage, grabbing the Hulk and throwing him to the ground, the two of them rolling around in the rubble. The sun rises, illuminating the devastation, but neither stops. The first resurrection is just a sign that this war will not end. By noon, the sun was beating down on the ruined city, evaporating the rainwater, creating a hazy mist. The three entities, now stronger than ever, continued their battle. Doomsday, with his ability to adapt, could now predict the Hulk's attacks. He dodged and counterattacked, punching the Hulk backwards, crashing into a surviving suspension bridge. The bridge collapsed, falling into the river below. The Hulk emerged from the water, drenched, his rage causing him to leap to the shore, charging at Doomsday. Solomon Grundy, in his new persona, used his intelligence to attack. He picked up pieces of the wreckage and threw them at the two entities like cannonballs. The metal flew, piercing the Hulk and Doomsday's skin, but they brushed them aside like flies. The Hulk turned on Grundy, grabbed him, and slammed him into the ground repeatedly, creating small craters. Grundy shattered, but he reformed, growing from the mud, and responded by strangling the Hulk. Doomsday charged, the three entities grappling as one, punching and kicking. The storm of power surged, Hulk growing angrier, lifting a collapsed building and hurling it at the two. Doomsday and Grundy were buried under concrete, but they dug out, stronger. Doomsday now had longer bone spikes piercing the Hulk's skin. Grundy, immortal, was relentless. The fight spread to the outskirts, destroying forests and hills. Trees snapped, rocks fell, but they continued, the drama building with each collision. Doomsday, his gray skin covered in jagged bone spikes, gasped, his red eyes gleaming in the weak twilight. Every wound on his body had healed, but now his skin was thicker, his muscles more bulging, as if he had adapted to the blows he had taken. He stood tall, legs spread wide. The ground beneath him cracked in deep fissures, a testament to his terrible weight. On the other side, Solomon Grundy rose from a pile of wet mud, his body reformed from rotting flesh and weeds. His eyes were glassy, his mouth murmuring nonsense nursery rhymes, his hoarse voice echoing like the wind howling through the swamp. This rebirth had changed his personality once more. From ferocity to madness, he cackled as he clenched his fists. Mud splattered from his thick fingers. The wound from the previous collision had disappeared, replaced by a new, thicker skin, interspersed with roots and rocks, making him look like a part of the chaotic nature. He staggered forward, each step shaking the ground slightly, water splashing from the swamp below his feet. The Hulk, a giant green entity, stood between the two, his muscles bulging so much that the veins stood out like tight ropes. His skin glistened in the faint sunlight. The green blood from the previous fights had dried, but the anger in his eyes still burned, making him pant like a wild animal. He had died in his thoughts many times, but each time the power surged, making him bigger, faster. Now, he pounded his chest, the sound reverberating like a war drum, igniting his primal instinct for destruction. The air around was heavy, the smell of burnt metal and wet earth mixed together, creating a dramatic visual picture where the three immortals prepared for the next iteration. Doomsday rushed forward first, his speed like a tornado. He leaped over the rubble, the bone spikes on his arms extended like blades. He aimed straight at Hulk, punching him in the chest, the impact sounding like a bomb exploding, forcing Hulk back a few steps, rocks flying everywhere. Hulk roared. The pain only made him angrier. He responded by grabbing Doomsday's arm and twisting it hard. The sound of bones breaking echoed. But Doomsday did not cry out. He just shook his head and used his other hand to stab the bone spike into Hulk's shoulder. Green blood spurted out, dripping onto the ground, creating streaks. The two entities wrestled, rolling on the ground, crushing the remaining pieces of concrete, dust flying up to obscure vision. Solomon Grundy did not stand aside. He ran forward with heavy steps, picked up a twisted iron bar from the wreckage, and swung it like a weapon. He slammed it into Doomsday's back. The sound of metal hitting flesh rang out deafeningly, causing him to let go of the Hulk and spin around. Grundy laughed wildly, his eyes flashing. He continued to swing the iron bar, but Doomsday dodged and punched him in the face, causing Grundy's head to cave in, black blood flowing freely. Grundy fell backwards, but in the blink of an eye, his head regenerated, growing back from the mud, and he sprang up, charging at Doomsday like a storm. The two of them collided. The roar mixed with the howling wind, the bulging muscles clenched together, the earth and sky seemed to shake under the terrifying force. The Hulk took advantage of the moment, leaping high into the air, his body blocking the setting sun and landing between the two entities, sending shockwaves rippling the pavement further. He grabbed Grundy and threw him away, crashing into a small hill on the edge of the city, rocks and debris falling like a waterfall. Grundy lay motionless for a moment, but then he rose from the rubble, his body completely regenerating, his madness causing him to scream and run back. Doomsday turned on the Hulk, and the two entities charged at each other, punching and kicking, each impact creating a deafening explosion, blood and skin flying everywhere. The cycle continued. They died, and then came back, stronger. The Hulk smashed Doomsday with a punch that shattered him, but he returned with thicker skin. Grundy was torn, but he grew back from the swamp. Emotions run high. Hulk's rage makes him scream. Doomsday's blind hatred makes him charge relentlessly, and Grundy's chaos makes him laugh maniacally in the middle of the battle. The visual description is vivid. Red, blue, black blood stains the ground, muscles tense in the sunset, dust and smoke mix into a thick fog. The battle drags on, never ending, like an endless spiral of destruction. They fight through the night. When darkness falls, only the pale moonlight illuminates the devastation. Doomsday adapts to the darkness, his eyes flashing like headlights. He lunges at Hulk from behind, stabbing bone spikes into his back. Hulk spins, grabs him and throws him into the sky, landing hundreds of meters away, creating a deep crater. Grundy jumps in, hugs Hulk and wrestles him to the ground, the two of them rolling around in the dark, gasps mingling with roars. Wounds heal quickly, strength increases, but no one prevails. This cycle lasts for hours. The dramatic emotions peak as they realize the futility, but instincts do not allow them to stop. And for a moment, Hulk has the upper hand. He tears Doomsday apart and throws Grundy into the abyss.